Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here, and we are actually starting AFK. This was captured from the live stream highlight last night, and we played the Neptune. This was actually our first game. What am I, a destroyer player, AFK? um, anyway, this is actually a really good ship. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, this is my first game, and it turned out to be a pretty good game. Now I am in a division here, which obviously makes things a little bit easier, communication and things like that. But I, I, I just really detest when people are like, uh, you know, well, you have to play solo in order to be a good player. What? No, division and teamwork is the key to this game, and we utilize a little bit of that in this game. So Jared said he's going to go spot at A because he said there's a destroyer at C. Jared is using his brain. He is a good guy. That is Mr. Girthquake there. So he has a channel of his own. He is a single father who's happily married, and is what we got. Also have relativity in the battleship. So we're going to take a central position here. We actually do have the range upgrade on the Neptune. That is a recent addition or a recent change from the development team. Of instead of 5% range, it's 10, and the because of our build, and it's the same build as my Mino. You do suffer a little bit from range, and we also don't really need the reload. I think the reload changed from 4.5 to 5 seconds, which is just not quite enough to make it worth that extra range. With that extra range, you don't need refill station or beyond range or something like that, where you can throw on pierce or penetrate or whatever the specific perk is for Mr. Fraser there. But like I said, I'll throw that up on the screen as well as go over the stats and a little more detailed commander guide at the end. We take a central position here. There's only 2 destroyers, and Jared mentioned one of them is at A. Now, we could have got detected here, but we have our smoke, and we are going slow. You can't see the throttle because of my stupid face, but you want to make sure you don't outrun your smoke in this ship. The same thing with the Mino and pretty much all British ships with smoke. This ship is the tier 8 tech tree, the step up from the Edinburgh, but do not expect, it does not have that bow. We will go over the armor at the end as well. I think you have a 16 millimeter bow. So think of a Mino that has skipped the gym. So you lack those turrets, but you do have the setup from the Edinburgh turrets there. And still, you can still dish out a lot of damage. Like I said, we get a high caliber in this game, and it's not really about damage. I will try this with a radar build, but for the first game, I wanted to feel out the ship and utilize smoke. So we have, like I said, we have this central position here. We have some spotting from our team in the meantime, and we're just going to damage these ships. I'm not sure why the Musashi wanted to donate his health, but he went ahead and did that. You also have the long-range torps, so if you can see approaching ships like that, then go ahead and make sure that you throw those out. We threw some in the center there, and we actually get a few torp hits and maybe, I think, a torp kill in this game. So it's a little build specific. I'm running the extended range in that slot, so make sure you're utilizing them especially if you build your ship this way. Builds are not as important, but people are always like, "What's your build? What's your build?" So I will keep that on the screen. 6 pins and 1 bounce there, and we're already up to 30k in the opening minutes here of this game. So a Conqueror is actually one of the better targets to shoot at with how soft its superstructure is and side armor. The British ships are notorious for just kind of being squishy. And yeah, but in the meantime, we have this Shima who flanked all the way around. I absolutely hate this. He actually gets a good flank. You have to give a little bit of credit to the player. And I'm actually not sure what our Cobb player was doing, but the Cobb actually goes after the Shima here. And I have a brief brown pants moment as that concealment that Shima is on the edge of our concealment range. So we actually don't want to shoot here. And I tell this Kaba to go get him, and he actually does. So props to this Kaba for he does some things later on that I'm like, what are you doing? But in the meantime, those torps we talked about are just now getting to the target, and they hit the Conqueror. 10 kilometer range, I think. And as I said, we will go over those at the end. But make sure you're just kind of throwing those out, similar to the French, not quite the French, but the Italian torps of 10, 12 kilometers there. They're sneaky from cruisers because you're not expecting them, per se. But we get a torp hit, and I think he's not taking the damage there. We did get a flood, but he repaired that, so not a permanent flood. Still spotted from that Shima, and this is a tricky spot. 3, 4, 5 legendary and tier 8 battleships will absolutely ruin you. You guys saw in I think it was the Daring video. I'm not Daring or Hayate video. I think it was the Daring video where the GK obliterates the enemy Neptune in one shot, and that's a GK. So, but like I said, that Cobb actually does his job, which is incredible. To ask that of a random Legends player is phenomenal. But he went to go spot that Shima, so we are going to support him as well. Landing shells at that range is probably a little questionable. We got a few on target there. And the Shima is down. I'm not sure why destroyer players go out on flanks like that. It is essentially useless for your team. You may get a few torp kills on camping battleships, but if an enemy gunboat or an enemy destroyer knows what they're doing or does that, then you will get absolutely focused. In the meantime, Jared is having a tough time on A. I think there are 2 radar cruisers or 2 cruisers over there, as well as that Sumner. But we see the Sumner and we actually get 1 hit on him. Anytime you can shoot at a destroyer, guys, anytime you can do so, you should. Any health off of a destroyer, except for, like daring and different destroyers with heals, is permanent. So make sure you are shooting destroyers. I cannot emphasize that enough, especially in a cruiser like this, which can smack. The AP on this thing is phenomenal. It only has AP, but you don't really have a choice. In the meantime, though, we are repositioning here. We see these battleships have an aggressive flank. And I also kind of am telling, I think I told Jared or Relativity, I'm like, all right, guys, we need to kind of control one of these sides. We don't have a full A control. We do have the cap. And I'm like, all right, let's just fall back and we need to worry about these battleships. I can damage them. I have 60k damage right now, but I cannot, unless I YOLO Torp Rush and the chance I get deleted is high, or I can kind of kite here and make sure that they don't kill me and spam them and be annoying. So we round this corner here and we actually get detected from this Yamato on the inside, and I just have to throw out my smoke. One salvo from a Yamato can put you at half health, as you guys have seen with Minos many times. But this smoke is actually pretty beneficial because it allows us to still spam from this position here without becoming detected. But we are in a tight spot, so you want to keep that in mind. You always want to be thinking out your position, especially if you have a radar, because without smoke in this game, I probably would have not done as well as I did, or been able to put myself in the positions that I did in this game. So we have our smoke out. You also need to be careful of your smoke firing penalty. I didn't know what it was in the game, and I think I look halfway through here as this Yamato approaches my smoke. I think it's 6.2, but until he reaches that range, we're going to spam him, and then we're counting on our torpedo reload here to save us in this situation. So yeah, there we're checking our fire. Oh, it's 6. I don't know why I said 6.2, but it's 6. So 6 kilometers in smoke there, which is actually a tiny bit more than the Mino. And we're going to go ahead and launch those as soon as he approaches that. The last thing you want to do is be spotted in smoke 6 kilometers from a Yamato here. Now, we could have single fired our torps, but I just find better success not single firing. So we wait a little bit. We probably could have waited a little bit more to put him on damage con as Jared goes down. I think he got surprised by a radar or something like that, but he did his job. He got the cap, and we'll try and get this win for him. In the meantime, you can see our commas on the east side of C. I have no idea what he was doing, but like I said earlier, he actually did his job and managed to kill that Shima. So, we'll credit him for that and maybe not point out this glaring misposition. But the Yamato tries to blind fire us, and like we said, we throw out the torps and we actually get him here. I could have saved the second set. I was a little premature. Wouldn't be the first time of me launching these torps, but the Conqueror's actually running down the same lane and spotting us briefly. So we are in a tough spot, I'm not going to lie. And like I said, you need to be paying attention to your positions, especially in these British cruisers. Besides the Edinburgh, for the most part, you do not have any armor and a giant citadel. I really like the look of this ship, though, so I might be playing a little bit more than I thought. But basically, this thing, like we mentioned earlier, is just a mini Mino with a slower reload. But it's at tier 8, so you can still beat up on tier 7s as the Mino in the past would. Didn't that really emphasize how broken Legendary tier was and how misbalanced it was? You would think about a Mino or Des Moines going up against a tier 7 now and be like, yeah, right, buddy. And two or three updates ago, that was the case. But anyway, we are kiting here. We are repositioning, waiting to throw our torps. Your concealment is good. It's not quite as good as it is in the Mino, and we are running concealment mod. Like I said, I will show those at the end, or maybe splice them in somewhere. But we're going to try and defend the cap and shoot this Alsace. I realize that he is too close, and we are going to have to cross here if we want to stay kind of concealed on the outer flank. We have one more smoke, but we are also detected by one of these cruisers. And you can kind of see me looking around. I'm like, what the hell am I detected by? So it had to have been the Neptune, I think, or the Des Moines, who was not shooting at the edge of my concealment range. And that is part of the problem with a lot of range. Sometimes people don't realize is you're adding extra concealment or lack of concealment to your range. If a cruiser is at the edge of that circle, you're going to be detected on it. So we throw torps at the Sovietsky here, but he actually turns in, which is smart from him, and avoids them. But in the meantime, we utilize our last smoke because that Alsace was right around the corner, and I didn't want to get fully blapped. And we just wanted to defend this cap. If you actually notice, we're pretty close on points, but we do have a ship that Kaba finally worked his way back around. Like I said, I don't know if he's going on a pleasure cruise or disconnected or whatever, but he's finally working his way back into sea. But we still need to kill one of these ships and one of these battleships and defend our cap. And the Alsace kind of hid there and retained a majority of the cap points. So they are now up on caps, although the Cobb is getting C. So thinking about game situation as well is also important. I'm not just damage hunting here, which is kind of what it seems like, which is also partly the role of these ships. You do have utility if you choose to add a radar, but the role of these ships is to damage hunt. Now here is a little bit of a brown pants moment. The Alsace just shot. These guys were trying to blind fire me, so credit to them. I actually think he was shooting at the Montana there or whatever that ship was. But we do lose our smoke. It is dissipating, and we have to go out kind of broadside. Now I want to get to this angle, but I also don't want to give a super flat broadside, even though he can overmatch every part of my boat. So we turn a little bit. And he does get one shot, and as you can see, we lose I think a quarter of our health here, closer to half. So you do not want to get shot in these ships. I only played this ship one time last night. Oh, and I also have to give a shout out to this guy. He said GG. He's a big fan of the channel. So sorry for trying to take all your health there, but yeah, GG's to you, buddy. Like I said, you don't want to. Where was I going? I'm sorry. I played one game in this ship last night, maybe two, and I didn't really put myself in too much of a position to get blapped, but I can tell you for sure that this thing will be getting dev struck constantly. People are just unaware of their position on the map. They are so focused down sight with different positions, but anyway, you want to play the ship cautiously. The smoke is a great addition, although radar is very deadly. I'm not sure the range of it. I'm probably assuming it's going to be Mino range, but we'll finish up this game here, and then we'll go over the stats and the build and things like that. So in the meantime, these three battleships are grouped up, and this Alsace, I think, was actually getting will to rebuild. So I'm like pinging and trying to get him off the board just to eliminate some of that will to rebuild. I understand the need for will to rebuild, but I just think it's too strong, and it's kind of a silly perk. Like no other ship gets invincibility or the ability to unlimited health. But I actually wanted to stay concealed in this island, and you saw me. You can't really see it because the throttle's covered by my stupid face, but I was playing with the throttle to try and stay behind that island because you can actually lob it with the slower velocity and higher lob shells of the British there. But that is going to do it for the game. That Kaba came back. Like I said, he kind of positioned himself weird for most of the game, but we ended up with 160, only one kill, one defend, but we did more than our job, and I'll go ahead and throw it to the end of the battle here and the results screen, and you guys can take a peek at it, and then I will be giving it to myself from the past or the future for these stats. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that, and here we go. So here we are with the commander build. We are running Miss Santa, which is Bruce Fraser. We are running Piercer there. That is the extra torpedo range we were talking about. Velocious and Steer Clear, as well as fully packed with Yamamoto and Makawa as inspirations. You want to have that extra AP, and here we talk about that extra AP in the stream. These are the modules we're running with the concealment mod steering, and then the extra range perk, which is now 10%, as well as the ship fully upgraded. But we'll go ahead and take a peek at the stats, and here's the new the ship in the new ocean view. Just honestly, like I said, a beautiful ship. The look of the British cruisers is pretty good. So we'll take a peek at the stats here and be right back. All right, guys. So we have the health, the survivability of the ship here, 44,900. A decent health pool, but as you saw for that one salvo, you can and will be touched. Your armor only goes from 13 to 102 millimeters. Your artillery is Edinburgh, essentially, with a little bit better range. And I think there's better pen. I don't know. It feels that way to me, but I'm not exactly sure of those stats. We have the 152s by Mark 50 XXV. I'll double check that real quick for the Edinburgh. 17-kilometer range, 5-second reload with a 180 turn time of 18 seconds. So not quite Mino-esque, but still dishing out a lot more damage with the 5-second reload there, which you can also get down a little bit more. I had it 4.5. With that module that we kind of showed you earlier. Torpedo launchers, 4x4, good range, 11-kilometer range, 62 knot speed there with a decent damage total. Not Japanese torpedoes, but if you can get those perm floods with staggering your torps there or pressing into incoming battleships, they can also absolutely decimate pushing battleships if you hold yourself in your smoke there. So AA defense is pretty good. I actually didn't see this. It's 98. So similar to Mino there, we've got the 40 Stag STAAG, the 20 Orlican Mark 5s there, and then your dual-purpose secondaries and main battery. Maneuverability is decent, 36.7, I think, with a flag there. A large turning circle, but and as well as a decent rudder. We also have Velocious and Steer Clear, so keep that in mind. Concealment is 10.1 with concealment mod and camo. So pretty good concealment. You can treat yourself like a giant destroyer, essentially, with smoke. And we'll go ahead and look at the armor now. 16 millimeter nose, and let's go and take that away and just show you that. Yeah, so as you saw from the Alsace, I think he's Citadel, so I'm not sure from the rear, you can and will be touched. This thing's I would almost be hard pressed to, it would take more skill to hit an overpen over the ship than a Citadel. And part of the reason is that the British Citadel has a good enough armor to just arm those shells, but probably overpens from battleships up close. What's new, battleship players? But Citadels from pretty much everything at most angles. So you want to be very cautious if you're choosing that radar and where you position yourself. But here are the utilities: a decent heel, actually a better than average heel. You've got that British heel there with a sonar. I honestly would never choose this consumable, especially with how strong the AA is. Now, it will be facing legendary carriers soon, so maybe if you're going out in a carrier division, I don't know. But here's where some people will have a real choice. Oh, it's 9.4. I think I said Mino, so it's not quite Mino. It's 9.4 with a 35-second duration, so a baby Mino radar. Which is good. Destroyers are getting a little bit harder to play, but I also don't feel bad at all for destroyer players, especially the ones who leave caps and abandoned flanks and things like that. But that is the ship, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Not quite my a true first look of me going out solo, but a good ship nonetheless. And we got the ocean view. I'm really happy that Wargaming did that. I post a little video later on it, so make sure you guys check that out. But that is the Neptune, everybody. Hope you guys have a great day. Run out. Peace.